Hello Leos and welcome to Embrace the Moon Tarot and your reading for April 2018. I am doing my usual four corners of the universe sort of reading, which covers mind, physical, emotion, or relationships, and spirit or passion. Present energy, strength, potential obstacle. And it looks like what we're at right now, and this isn't so much entering into April, but I feel like you're transitioning to, and eventually will get to a point somewhere around the end of second week, most prominently of April, where you will be releasing and walking away from some things. So it just feels like just kind of working up towards just some events that are leading up towards. And I'm not getting anything more else. Like, it's very kind of veiled, I guess you could say, as I'm trying to tap into it, trying to connect with more of the information to give to you. And it's just basically letting me know that I'm supposed to let you know that the events that are kind of unfolding, whether you have started to notice a pattern of things kind of being presented or unfolding in front of you, or if they're just beginning, or if you've gotten to the point, depending on when you're viewing this, it's all leading up to getting to a point where you're going to be able to have you're going to get to a point where you're going to desire complete closure on something. And the sort of closure that allows you to walk away and not give it as much energy. Though there's a sense of there could be some mourning and I think that's the biggest issue as you watch these events unfold, or as they transpire, or whether you are able to step back and see them, or you're just fully engrossed in them. Like anything, when we come to a point where we're decided that we're done and we're ready to exit and leave and never look back, or only look back and see it for the good times that they are, or that they were, we still experience that process of mourning and sadness because we know something is coming to an end, no matter if it is leading to something better. But you're just, you're working up towards, or things are kind of progressing to a point where events will eventually come to a head. And as a result of that, you'll be able to see it for what it is, appreciate it for what it was and what it gave to you when you were going through that. Experience whatever emotions that are tied with that, but eventually get to a point where there is some sort of closure and some sort of moving on. So however that applies or resonates with you. Again, this does not feel so much that is the beginning of April as much as somewhere towards like the second week of April, the heaviest of it. So the bulk of the Leos who this resonates with is going to be more so towards the end of the second week. And there's always those few, because of their vibrations and wavelengths that they're on, it may be slightly before that, and some it may be slightly less. So the second week is, the number that comes up most prominent. So it's not so much that you're entering April with this energy, but most likely the events are starting to kind of roll in that direction. The domino effect's starting to roll in that direction, and it's all leading up to this point where you will be sort of coming to some sort of closure and then moving on as a result of it. So mentally, we have the Three of Wands, and there's a feeling of anticipation. And it feels obviously very connected with this event that I was talking about as far as working towards that closure. So some anticipation is going on, and almost like you feel like there are some things that you can't put any energy into, you can't follow through with, almost feeling like you are at I use this term for another person too, a stalemate, so to speak. So if that other reading resonates, this is a theme for you, but it's sort of a stalemate of sorts, and you can't progress or move on. There's a sense of not being able to progress or move on. You're just waiting. You're waiting for these events, these domino effects, to finish falling, to come to a stop so that you can finally walk away. And so there are some things that you are anticipating putting some energy into, and you're ready, you're on the mark, so to speak. But you don't feel ready to take that first step until all these other things kind of line up and that closure come to pass, or you get close enough that you see the closures and you can kind of start focusing. But I feel for the most part, there's just this overall sense that there's no desire to really put any energy into anything else until this comes to whatever closure or end that it's supposed to come to. So a lot of heavy anticipation, but not bogging you down kind of anticipation. You're on this sense of waiting. So it's not the sort of anticipation that is wearing you so thin that everything else is difficult. It's just you're very aware of the anticipation. You're very aware of this energy. And there's pockets of time where you're very aware of it to the point of it can kind of, make you slightly anxious, kind of like, I wish it would hurry up. I wish we could come to a closure. I wish it could come to an end. But it's not weighing heavy on you to the sense that it's like completely bogging you down and making you worthless. That's the word that came to mind, but you know what I mean, right? Hopefully you know what I mean. So you just, like I said, anticipation is heavy on you, and I feel like this is very much the beginning of the month, and this has to do, again, linked to that, whatever it is that you're anticipating and waiting for closure, and this will start to, you'll step out of this, I believe, whenever the closure comes to pass. So this is mostly towards the beginning of the month that you'll be experiencing this. And most likely you are already experiencing it right now. So you're very well aware of this particular energy and what it's doing for you. And, respect it for what it is, but don't give it too much attention because, when this closure happens, I feel like all the ducks are going to start to line up and you'll be able to move in the direction that you want to move into. So physical, we have the Judgment card. Again, this is all tied together with that sense of anticipation. And so I feel like there's some sort of call, a judgment call that, again, that is being anticipated. It's just, this is all interlinked. And I'm not sure, I feel like for some of you, this has been kind of come up quick on you. It's not something that was been going on, but then there are some others of you that this has been an undercurrent for a while now. And whatever the scenario, it really doesn't matter. What does matter is that it's all connected. That feeling of anticipation, that desire for closure, the fact that you're going to get to a point of some sort of closure somewhere in the second week. It's obviously has something to do with the physical realm, something within your personal life that makes up your personal world. And I always say, when I think of my personal world, what makes up your world, what makes up your universe, it could be friends, it could be family, it could be career, it could be your actual physical home, the actual physical whatever that you exist in, community. However it applies, you know how it applies, but whatever there's a judgment call. And once this particular judgment call has been made, it is going to then impact that anticipation and allow the anticipation to kind of alleviate itself, because you're going to be rolling closer and closer and get to that final closure that you're looking for. So this is just validating what I've already kind of stated so far in this reading, and validating you that, yes, what you're experiencing, what you're going through, the universe knows, and it hears your, any cries or pleas or screams of frustration and annoyance. It understands, the powers that be is aware of this, and it's just telling you to keep holding on, keep doing what you're doing. You're getting to that point where you're going to get to that closure that you're seeking. In the emotional realm, we have a Daughter of Swords. And whatever this is, again, we're still kind of running off of this theme. This must be the most prominent thing that's happening for you for this month. Whatever it is that you are anticipating for this judgment call to kind of get you rolling in the direction of closure, you are going to get to a point where you're going to have to make some decisions, and you're going to have to make some rooted decisions. It feels like there's going to be some decisions that's going to ask for some change, and it's some of those things that for some people they might not consider them to be major changes. but you yourself and how it impacts your life, it may feel like they're major. And I don't say that to alarm you as much as just sometimes some of the most simple changes aren't so simple when you're the one who has to make them. So, you could have a job promotion, and that job promotion now requires you to get up half an hour early. If you're not a morning person, this is a big deal. It might not be a deal breaker. You're willing to do what it takes to kind of acclimate to that new shift. But there's, that time frame where you have to make the necessary judgments to make it happen. So it's that kind of change where it's not major, but, for you personally, it feels major until you can kind of acclimate. So there's some changes that's going to impact you as a result of this closure that's going to occur. And it's going to tie into your mood as a result of it as you try to get acclimated. Just be aware of it. The nice thing about having these types of readings, and if these things resonate with you, you're aware of it happening. And so that when it kind of comes across your threshold, you're able to move with it a little bit better. You're able to accept the fact that, oh yeah, this is that change. Okay, what do I got to do to kind of tackle it to make it happen? So, it's just, it's tied to the mood and emotion because of just what it's going to require of you. If you're used to going to bed at a certain hour and now you have to get up half an hour early, maybe you're missing your favorite show. Maybe that, ice cream before you go to bed is no longer something you can do on that night. You'll have to wait for the weekends for it. Maybe just waking up that much early, even though you go to bed early, it doesn't matter. You're not a morning person. It makes you irritable until you can acclimate. There's just kind of going to be a connection with your mood a little bit as you sort of sort through how you can balance this shift. But it's just going to, it's going to take you kind of acclimating your mindset. And like I said, I don't feel that this is like excruciatingly major changes, but sometimes those minor changes, when they're so personal, they can feel a bit more major when you're experiencing them. So just, this is all tied in, and I feel like you probably already know how this resonates with you. So take it how it resonates and use it accordingly. And if it doesn't, let it go. Within the fire or passion or spiritual realm, we have the Daughter of Pentacles, and I feel that these two are very connected. So I feel like this shift and the changes that you're going to have to, you need to be taken root, and it's just kind of really reaffirming that as far as that as when you take in the concept of fire, it's kind of more along the lines of manifesting, making it happen. And so within that, I'm just seeing that you are actually going to be able to make this happen. The Daughter of Pentacles is really just letting me know that no matter how the shift happens, whatever it calls for you, and I'm getting diet change. So I think there's a good bit of you that this is actually going to be some sort of diet change. That's all I'm getting. Diet change. Say diet change. So diet change. I don't know how you feel about food, but I kind of like food. So, if I suddenly were told I couldn't have something, I'm going to be moody about it as I try to acclimate with this new thought process. And, it's going to take a lot of work to kind of ground this new mindset, but it's just kind of letting you know that the potential's there. You have everything you need. You're going to do it. And I think that whatever transpires in this closure that you're moving forward to, is going to make you feel very resolved making it happen. It's just, during the transition, it's kind of grumpy. And we are being reaffirmed once again. Your strength for the month is the Tower, and this is about big shifts. And again, I don't see this as a huge shift whenever somebody looks at you and looks at the situation like, oh my God. It's more like when it's so personal. Sometimes when we have to make these changes, they feel so huge and daunting and ugh. So your strength for the month is embracing this change. And I don't feel like I have to be telling you this in the sense that I feel that the circumstances that are going to lead up to the closure and require the changes that you're going to need for making this new mindset and kind of manifesting and really kind of grounding yourself with this new acclamation of how you define whatever the circumstances is that this involves, you're actually going to be very ready and resolved to making these changes. But like I said, whenever these changes are personal, and again, I'm getting diet change. So if there's some of you that are having health issues, or there's someone who is very closely connected to you emotionally that is having health issues that is requiring a diet change, it doesn't matter. The process of making that change and creating a new habit, it's major when you're going through it. Even it's for the better, for the good. It still is so major when you're the one experiencing it and having to go through it. So this is just kind of, saying you will find great strength if you can find your way to take stride in embracing this. But even more so, it's just validation that you will be able to do this. You'll be able to do this. But just be aware that this is kind of going to be unfolding as you go through the month of April. And the possible obstacle, we have the Nine of Swords and it's reversed. And I feel that this is just kind of really screaming, do not let your anxieties get the worst of you. Like that's just like, that's all I'm getting. As soon as I looked at this card and I picked up this card, the first thing that come to mind is don't let your anxieties get the worst of you. And I'm like, saying, okay, but what more? And I'm being told, nope, that's it. Do not let your anxieties get the worst of you. So that is all I'm getting for this card. That's all I'm going to deliver. It doesn't do me any good to kind of try to wriggle any more out, because then the message kind of gets bogged down in me trying to force it. So your obstacle is having the potential of letting your anxieties, whatever it is, to get the worst of you or best of you, or however you want to phrase that. And you're just being told, don't let that happen. And you have the potential of embracing that and making sure that you stay level-headed. Please don't take that as an insult. Helping you to stay level-headed enough that as you're processing the changes that are being required of you, whatever they may be, and what it takes for you to acclimate, don't overthink it. Don't let it drive you crazy. Don't let it bog you down. Don't let it make you overwhelmed. Don't let it get the best of you. Go with the flow. Take what you've been told to heart as far as what you need to do to get the closure and to move on to the next step, because the more you can kind of embrace and smoothly sidestep with this change and kind of walk in parallel with it and move forward as you're being kind of pushed to move forward, the more quicker and smoother the closure can happen, and you can kind of move on to whatever it is that you're desiring. And it just feels like whatever it is, it doesn't matter at this point for some of you what the next step is. You're just ready for this to be done. You're ready to move on to something else. Anything else got to be better than what you're at right now, because this plateau that you've been in regarding whatever this situation is and waiting for this closure has been, you just want it over. So, step along with it, embrace it, kind of move forward with it. Don't let your mind kind of take over and hash out and just, get the best of you. Just take the information as it comes and filter it accordingly, and just keep moving forward and embrace change the best that you can. So, Leos, that is the biggest bulk of the reading. I'm going to go ahead and pull another little card for you. When I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. I think this is just kind of a mantra that you could probably write down and hang somewhere where you can see it, and maybe look at it whenever you need to, because I feel that this is just very highly, highly, highly resonating with the whole entire reading as far as, don't give too much energy to that anticipation. Recognize that you are anticipating something and let, just kind of go with it. And whenever you get whatever that judgment call that you're supposed to be getting comes and the closure kind of comes, see it for what it is, and just, kind of lean into the process of letting things unfold, embracing that change, as I've already said. Everything that I've already said, this card is just really reinforcing this particular reading. So if you need a little something extra, feel free to pause this right now and to write this out on a piece of paper or several pieces of paper and put them wherever you need. Bathroom mirror, bedroom mirror, in your wallet, at your desk at work, tape somewhere in your car so you can read it when you first, whatever it takes for you to be able to have this as your mantra as you kind of go through this. But when I lean on faith of the universe, peace becomes real. All right, Leos, that is all I have for you for the month of April. Please check out the personal readings links and the Patreon page, which has several different links or tiers and subscriptions, from general weekly readings to new moon astrological. Like I have a new moon per astrological sign readings, depending on what subscription you want. You can cancel at any time, but it helps to support me to continue doing this more regularly and hopefully completely and only this, which am anticipating and desiring to do. Other than that, I hope you have a fabulous April. Make it a good one, and hopefully I'll see you next month.